What is happening, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today's the day I have been waiting for a very long time. I am going to pick up a 2-post lift. I'm not buying a brand new one. I did find a very good deal on a used one. So I got the trailer loaded up, the truck. We are gonna head out and pick this thing up. Alright guys, there's a lift. This is an older Amco lift. You can see I was kind of back and forth between buying an older, better quality lift or buying a brand new, cheaper, like Chinese lift. And I found actually a good deal on this, so that's why I decided to do this one. But these are just so much better built. They're made out of a lot better steel, a lot thicker, and these things weigh like twice as much as a new lift. I helped Devin, my brother, set up his lift, and this thing is a lot heavier. It took 4 guys to load it, and we were dragging it on the concrete. So what I want to get started with right now is just get it cleaned up. You can see there's a lot of crap on it, a lot of grease and whatnot. So let's get her cleaned up. Another thing I like about this lift is look how big these base plates are. They're like 3 foot in width and like a foot wide. So that's gonna help spread out the weight of the lift onto the concrete. So either way, let's get it cleaned up and then we can get it in the shop, figure out what we need to do to get this thing mounted up. There we go, lots of pressure washing later. It actually cleaned up really good. You can see this inside was completely packed full of grease. Yeah, there's still some missing paint on the bottom, but not a huge deal. So I'm gonna go back through and grease these sides. You can see where the main beam rides on the inside of these tracks here. Do need some grease, so when I get this thing back together, I will grease all that. But everything else seems to be in actually really good shape.
I deleted all the pictures of you I had on my Instagram. You can't see it in my dreams, I hold you close just like I wish I can. It's late at night, I know you're gone, and I can't sleep cause you moved on. I wish I tried, but you're with someone else tonight. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? Oh, running right back to where we started. Tried to make it all okay, but the end is still the same. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted?
We are up, guys. Check it out. Looking so good in here. Was a little hairy getting that top beam on there with just a ladder and the bucket of the tractor, but we got it and looking good. So that's exactly where I want it. I wanted it over enough to where I could still park one of my trucks on this side. So I got like 9.5 feet, I think, from the post to the edge, the outside edge of these cabinets. So that's plenty of room. My truck's mirrors are like 7.5 feet wide. So plenty of room there. One thing, I do have to run into town to get a new hammer drill. This thing doesn't have the right end on it. This is a hammer drill, but I don't know, it's a really small one. Not really made for big bits, and these hammer bits have a special like lock fitting deal cut into them. So I can't get that thing to even spin straight. So I gotta run, and I'm just gonna rent one from Home Depot. We can drill these holes in, get the anchor bolts in, and then we just gotta run cables over, run all the hydraulic lines, wire it. And this one does have air locks. You can see these locks run off of air. So what I bought is I just got a 90, that's an air line there that runs all the way across over to the back of the shelf. I just got a 90. I'm gonna 90 it off, come up and over right up to the pump. So not too bad. Then we just gotta pull wire from the panel. I already got a breaker in there I'm not using, so we just gotta pull wire, run it through the wall, up, over, down to the motor, and we should be good. So I'm gonna run into town, grab a new hammer drill, drill these, get these bolted in, and we can start with everything else. And real quick, guys, I got new t-shirts out. I know you guys saw this one. It's got the big flag on the back. I got a few other new shirts on the site as well, so go check them out, avrcustoms.com. I'll have a link down in the description. All right, we got all the bolts in. I haven't torqued them down yet. They are just pounded in. I do have shims right here that I'm going to make sure these things are perfectly straight this way and that way. So this one, I can already see a little bit of a gap right here. This plate must not be 90 degrees square anymore, so it's probably gonna need a shim under that bolt there. But I'm gonna get the level out and level these things out, torque them down. Then we can start running these cables over, run all these lines. We got a line that we got to put together up there, get the pump and motor on, run a line from the pump up to one of the T's up on top, and all that other fun stuff. So let's get to it, get these things straight. All right, we are making some progress. So we got all the cables on, and what I actually had to do, as you can see, I had to jack these up just to get room because there's a pulley right there on the bottom that the cable wraps around. So you got to be able to get your hands in there, but those are extremely heavy. So make sure you actually support it with something decent. So I got a jack and some blocks, but either way, we got cables on, we got the overhead bar with a switch in it, and that's really about it. We are ready to go for wiring. So what I'm going to do, I got on this panel, this needs a 30 amp breaker, and I got a 30 amp breaker dual post right here that will be perfect. That, as you can see, is not being used. Alright, we are ready for some wire. So tomorrow morning, I gotta run into town, grab wire, and I got a little tech tip of the day. Make sure your compressor's off before you disconnect the line. You guys saw that thing flying around, so yeah, make sure your air is off. So I'll get out here tomorrow and finish this thing up, get it wired. Hopefully I'll get my fittings for the air line and we can run that over there, down to there as well. Alright, we just got back from the store. Got a bunch of fittings, a bunch of clamps, conduit. I'm just gonna run conduit from the motor up to the attic, and then it's just gonna be stapled wire onto the trusses and down. One thing I want to do real quick, I got a socket, you can see. So I'm gonna torque these down 120 foot-pounds. We'll tighten those up and then we'll get on wiring. All right, we got her hooked up. This is the breaker here. Didn't shock myself, so we are good. We got two hot legs because it's 220, then a ground. As far as I know, this thing is wired right, at least from the diagrams I see, and then there's even one here. You connect T4 and T5 together, put one hot there, T1 is the other hot, but this has the overhead switch. So you basically run this in line of one of the hot legs. So I got the white, that is one hot leg going into those two that are tied together, and then the switch, the black goes through the switch back through here into the other leg, and then we got a ground. So basically what that overhead switch does is just cuts power to one of the legs to shut the motor down if you were to bump something into it. Hold on guys, not so fast. I completely forgot the switch, the up switch. So just two wires. This runs in line, it looks like just in line with the black. So the black comes in from the panel through the switch and then out to the motor through the, it'd be through that black wire, not the white. So we'll just run this in line between the black here and the black to the up switch, and we should be good. We can turn the breaker on, see if this thing works. All right, you can see I got the switch wired in line with that black. So let's go turn the breaker on. Hopefully nothing pops. If that is good, then we will go to the pump, see if that thing works. So far, so good. Let's see if it moves. Well, it's working. I do have to bleed the whole system. The cables are definitely very loose. There is no oil at all, so I gotta figure out how to bleed it. Quick change of plans, guys. We gotta run our air line so that when we actually get some oil in the cylinders, our lock release will work. So these are air activated. So we gotta run a line. I'm just gonna tee into that line there, run it right up to there, and then I just got the regular fitting on the end of that hose, so we'll just connect that up, and then we can move on to bleeding and adjusting these cables. All right, we got our air lines hooked up. So we got one to that stop, run all the way up and over to a T right there into that stop, and then to the valve. So I already got hooked that back up just so we can turn the air on. Let's turn the air on, make sure nothing's leaking. Nothing's falling apart yet. Looks good. Now, when we hit this button right here, that should pull these locks back to where you can drop the whole lift down. So let's see what they do. There we go. All right, we got these cables just snugged up. They're not super tight. I don't think you want them extremely tight, but it doesn't really say. All it says in the manual is make sure the tension is the same once you get them up and get everything bled. Make sure the tension is the same on each cable. So it doesn't really say what tension or how tight they should be. But either way, we'll figure that out later. We got to get this thing bled. So what it says to do is hold the power button until they start raising up. Raise the arms like 3 feet until they hit the locks. And then you want to start with this side, I guess. Pull the bolt out. This is like the bleeder, so that's how you bleed the air out. So you want to loosen that up until you get just a little bit of hydraulic fluid come out. Then we'll go to that one, do the same thing. And then it says to raise it up a couple inches, do it again, a couple inches, and do that until you get no air coming out of the tops of those cylinders. So we're gonna give that a go, see what we can do, and hopefully everything works smoothly. Oh. There we go. We're moving. So we just hit the first lock. Let's lower it down. Looks like we're on the locks. So now I'm gonna bleed those bolts. We'll raise it again, bleed them until we get no air coming out. All right, I think we are bled. Now I'm gonna adjust these cables a little more. I kind of was messing with it a little bit, and I got it fairly close. You can see we'll raise it up, and you should be able to hear both click at the same time. I haven't tried this adjustment, so we'll see what happens. This left one was clicking first last time. Actually, that clicked right away at the same time. So I'm gonna try it again. We're going down. I'm gonna go up again and see if they click or latch in at the same time. That's really what you want. And then you want to put, I'm gonna bring my truck in here, put my truck on, and with weight, make sure that they're even. Let's go up one more time and try it again. There we go, both at the same time. There it is, guys. We are in the air. Lift is working really good. No issues yet. I guess I just need to get used to these things. They are, truck definitely moves around a little bit, but I'm sure that is fairly normal. But I've never really been around these two posts or any lift, as a matter of fact. So maybe it's something I'll have to get used to. This is an asymmetrical lift. So you can see the front arms are shorter, which I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Apparently for like a lighter four-wheel drive truck, I guess from what I read anyway, this style of lift is actually better because there's a lot more weight in the front of the truck. So you can bring the truck back and you can see there's more back hanging off than front because there's a lot more weight in the front. So you kind of want to pull the truck back anyway. So that's gonna work just fine. Plus it actually sits about perfect in the shop. I got 4 feet behind it, and then probably 8-10 feet maybe to that wall. So pulling motors and everything, I'll be able to pull the engine hoist back into here and still have enough room for all that. So should work pretty good. There it is, guys. Both trucks in the shop. Still fits like a glove. So plenty of room. That's one thing I was kind of worried about, is having enough room, but actually it really doesn't take up that much space. The only thing I'm really gonna have issues with is painting in here. If I need to paint a whole truck, that post is kind of in the middle of the shop. So it's gonna be kind of a pain. I mean, I guess if I'm painting a cab, I could paint, you know, right in here and in front of the lift. But if I'm painting a whole truck, it's a little tight to be painting inside the lift or even on this side. So I'm not really sure what I'd do there. Someday I need to add on to the shop and punch it out, kind of put a little makeshift paint booth out there. But for now, this will do. I'm very excited about the lift. I can't wait to start working on it. Well, that's it, guys. Lift is done 100%. So very, very excited. I cannot wait to start working on the truck, on the lift. We got exhaust to build, and that's kind of one reason why I wanted to get this lift up, is the exhaust is going to be so much easier to work on in the air. Literally everything's going to be so much easier. I got to pull this tranny back out because I am going to rebuild it. So I do need to buy one of those tall tranny jacks. Mine obviously is not going to work anymore. So big tranny jack. I might get some stabilizing jacks. There is a few more things I want to add to the collection, but lift is number one. This is gonna be so much better. I cannot wait to get to work. Well, that's it for this one, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Go smash that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.